Hey everybody, welcome back. Now we are in week 4, which is our New York Hall of Science week. New York Hall of Science is a really great museum in Queens, and a lot of the lessons that we're doing this week are inspired by that museum. So let's begin. What makes a car go faster or slower? The force generated from a car's engine can propel it forward. But what about a car like this, a toy car with no engine? How can we control the speed of this car? A car, or any object in motion, tends to stay in motion. But when that car is still, it has a tendency to stay still. The tendency for an object to stay in its current state of motion, well, that's called inertia. Inertia tells us that if something is moving, it wants to keep moving. And if something is still, it wants to remain still. For instance, if you're riding your skateboard down a hill and you suddenly hit a rock, the rock stops the skateboard, but your body was already in motion and it wants to keep being in motion by flying forward. Or for you golfers, when you hit a golf ball, it flies through the air, it hits the ground, it wants to keep going because of inertia, so it keeps rolling until the friction of the grass or whatever surface it's on stops it from rolling. Inertia is described in Newton's first law of motion, which states that an object continues in its state of motion or rest unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. If a soccer ball is just sitting there, it stays at rest until you bring a force to it, which could be your foot kicking the ball. For your toy car activity, you're going to measure acceleration. But before you're ready to measure acceleration, you need to understand velocity. Velocity is the speed of something in a given direction. How fast a car travels is its velocity. Now, acceleration is a change in that velocity. So whether it speeds up or slows down, that's acceleration. Usually people say when something speeds up, it's accelerating, and when something slows down, it's decelerating. And finally, you need to know what a plane is. Not an airplane, but a geometrical plane. And for our purposes, it's basically just a flat surface. In math terms, a plane is just two-dimensional, which means it has zero thickness at all. But you don't need to think about it in those terms. Just think about it as a flat surface for this activity. For this activity, let's see how the surface of the plane the car travels on and the angle of that plane affect its acceleration. We'll be able to see how far the toy car goes, but we can also directly measure its acceleration. I do encourage you to use the Google Science Journal app. Now this part is optional. You don't have to get this app and you don't have to use your phone. But if you do, you'll have a more precise measurement during your activity and you'll have to do less work to get your results. If you get the app, you might need to ask your parents for permission. Alright, to open it up, you just press get started. You don't have to sign in, press continue without signing in, and then you have to give them permissions. Alright, you'll get to this page here, press the start or the plus button. See this menu here? Go to the thing that looks like a Pokemon ball. And that will give you an accelerometer. This is what you're going to use for your task today. This is a built-in accelerometer. All phones have them, but you need this app to be able to see how it's working. And it's for cell phones to sense a change in speed. And you see when you move it up and down, or like this meter changes, and that's showing you the acceleration. By the way, you might notice there's a slight fluctuation even when you have it completely still on a stationary surface. And that's because of the acceleration created by the gravitational force of gravity on Earth. It's just a natural occurrence. Okay. Set up your runway, and to do that, take your 8 sheets of paper. This is 8.5 by 11, just regular computer paper, and tape them all together lengthwise, like this. And then take your measuring tape and set it up, because for every inch on your measuring tape, you are going to put a notch on your paper to mark that inch. Make sure that your measuring tape starts exactly where your paper begins, and then just put a notch every single inch. 1. Okay, this is what it looks like all the way up to the end. So when the car rolls onto the runway, you can see exactly where it stops. Now I'm going to measure from the front. That looks like it stops at 41 inches. I've linked you to an acceleration graph that looks like this. If you can print it, that would be perfect. You actually need to print a couple. If you can't print it like me, then you can always make your own. You see how I've just sort of made my own here. I didn't put in the grid. I can just do some marks at the bottom here. But what you do need to make sure that you have is the XY axis here, and mark the bottom of it, max acceleration / distance, and then the side of it, number of cups. And then you also need to make sure you put the surface material on top. Right now I have 2 because I'm going to do 1 neutral just for my cardboard, and then 1 with sandpaper attached to my cardboard. That graph looks exactly the same until I fill it in. So you can also do that if you do not have access to a printer to print this. You need a toy car. You need some paper to keep your graphs on. You're going to need some cups for your ramp. It might help you to have some sort of obstructions to add as friction to your ramp for some of your trials. I have sandpaper here and felt. You can use whatever you have at home if you don't have those objects. I'm using some rubber bands to attach my phone to my car. If you don't want to attach your phone to your car, I don't blame you. It's dangerous. It could hurt your phone. So do whatever you feel is necessary. If you don't want to use your phone, make sure you do use the graph. And then you'll need some tape. And let me show you what your ramp looks like. Your ramp should consist of one fairly long piece of cardboard. This one's about 18 inches, attached to some cups to hold it up. And you're going to play with the amount of cups that you have. So you could use 1 cup on each side, you could use multiple cups on each side, and you're going to probably change it up as you go along to record your different results. And then at the end of the ramp is that paper that you made with the 1-inch increments all over it, and that just stretches on until it's done, and you try to put it on a flat surface. So you can see I've set up my first trial run for my ramp. I've decided to use 10 cups on each side. All right, so that didn't work too well. So I took out some of my cups. Now I'm down to only 1 cup each on each side, and it works a little bit better now. Watch this. All right, at least it doesn't crash. Okay, I put an obstruction on the right side so that the car will not fly off the runway. Okay, that keeps it on mostly. Now I have my cell phone attached to my car. Obviously, this is a risk, and I might be crazy for doing this. So you do not have to do this if you're worried about your phone. I do not blame you at all. But if you do decide to do it, make sure you have your Science Journal app open. Okay, and you're open to the accelerometer, which is again the Pokeball part. And you get it on the ramp, press that red button. Don't press it before that because it might give you a false reading. When it's on the ramp, press the red button and let it go. And here goes nothing. I'm pressing record. Be safe. All right, it survived. All right, this is my result up top. It recorded it for me. And what you're looking for is the maximum acceleration there. So my maximum acceleration was 3.6. I'm going to do it again, and this time I forgot to record how many inches it went. Pressing record. Go, little baby. All right, great. My car stopped at 13 inches. I got a 7.5 maximum acceleration. Nice. If you're not using your phone app, then you're going to have to record your information on the graph here. So my maximum acceleration distance, let's see, I did 10, 15, 20. So I'll put a dot right there. That was my first trial with 1 cup. I went 13 inches, which came between 10 and 15 inches on my graph here. Now I'm going to try it with 3 cups. My maximum acceleration that time was 9.6. So you see how it went faster when I added more cups. And I went 23 inches, so I'm going to write that on my graph. All right, so for 3 cups, I went about 23 inches. Put my dot there. Now I have 5 cups. Let's try this. I got a 4.9 maximum acceleration and only went 17 inches. And it only went 17 inches. Now I've done it with my cardboard. Now I'm going to add an obstruction. I'm going to add some friction onto my cardboard. So I'm going to tape some sandpaper on, and then we'll do another graph for that. Cool, you can see I've taped some sandpaper on. That's to add friction. Maybe you don't have sandpaper at home. All you want to do is attach anything that's going to add friction. You could put a paper towel on there, a t-shirt, anything that you think might slow your car down or cause a different reaction. So I'm going to try it now. My maximum acceleration on the sandpaper with the 5 cups was 5.7. You can see I put a new dot there on my new graph to mark my measurement. Well, I had a camera malfunction outside where I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. But anyway, I did a few more tests with my sandpaper, and then I wrote down my results here by putting the dots on the graph in the right area. You can see I put the number of cups and then the inches that it went, and I did that with my sandpaper. If you want to, you can continue going. You can make another graph, and if you use a different object, you can just put that at the top and record what your results are. Alright, so have fun, record your results, do as many trials as you want, and make sure you take a picture or upload a video so I can see your progress on it. Have fun.